PLC. He served as Assistant Secretary of the United States Department of Energy. Thank you. Thanks for coming. 他的名字也叫朱建荣先生，他是Gee战略集团的总裁，他是原美国能源部助理部长，美国百人团会员。
Wu Zhongwen. So I'm going to speak English today. Thank you very much, as the speaker introduced. And as he mentioned, I am a former U.S. government official. I had the privilege of serving the Clinton administration a number of years ago and also served as the chairman of the Public Utility Commission of Texas. So I have had a career in both state and federal government, and I am not running for office. So I want to acknowledge Secretary Liu as well as Delegate Davis. Thank you very much for being here. I do want to say a few words about Chris Liu, my colleague today. Secretary Liu is the highest ranking Asian American and Chinese American in the U.S. federal government today. He's had a distinguished career as Deputy Secretary of Labor, and before that served as Cabinet Secretary to President Obama, where he was the highest ranking Asian American in U.S. history to serve on White House staff. So thank you very much, Chris, for being here. You honor us by your presence today. I do understand that today's audience is predominantly Chinese-speaking, first generation, both the audience here as well as the YouTube audience. So I want to speak to you as a third generation Chinese American. As first generation Americans, I envy you. I envy you because you are Americans by choice, not by birth, like I am. And I think in many respects, your U.S. citizenship, which you've elected, is even more precious to you for those of you who decided to emigrate from your original homes of birth to come to be part of the diaspora, the great diaspora that makes up the United States. And with that, as you know, with citizenship comes the obligation to vote. So no matter what candidate or which political party you belong to, we do encourage you to vote. And I say that in all sincerity because that's what makes our country great. I'm asked today to speak a few words on behalf of the Clinton campaign. So what I'd like to say is Secretary Clinton chose as her theme, Stronger Together. And the reason why she chose that particular theme is because it was in response to divisive and fearful rhetoric coming from her political opposition. It's the type of rhetoric that says that we need to build walls to keep illegal immigrants coming from the South to the United States, or we need to prohibit the immigration of lawful immigrants from particular countries overseas. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the type of rhetoric that should concern us, because it's not so much the physical walls that damage us, it's the mental walls. It's the walls which drive a wedge within our own communities that will divide us, and that will lead to the destruction of the United States. I am a strong believer in American exceptionalism. We are the greatest country in the United States. We cannot allow this type of rhetoric to divide us. Words matter. Words matter whether you're talking about women. Words matter whether you're talking about dividing people by community, by race, by gender, or by homes, by religious faith, or by countries of origin, okay? Before I leave, I've asked just to make a few brief remarks. I'd like to share with you a personal story, which happened about 30 years ago when I began to become active politically, and what drove me to public service, first in Texas and then ultimately to come to Washington. I was an attorney in private practice in Houston, Texas, and there was a large immigrant community coming in from Vietnam at the time. There were many Vietnamese that were coming. They were boat people who fled communism in Vietnam to settle in the United States. And there was a great deal of anxiety and animosity that was directed towards these Asian immigrants. In one instance, a flashpoint occurred that really galvanized our community, and that was when two skinheads, two white extremists, beat and literally stomped to death a 15-year-old Vietnamese American boy. I was called upon because I was an attorney in private practice, and I was asked to speak to the prosecutor. I was asked to meet with the family to console them. I was asked to act as a bridge so that the family could seek justice. And I can remember very vividly going to the funeral home to look down at a casket of this young boy. I remember going to the prosecutor asking that these white extremists be prosecuted. I remember ultimately testifying before the Texas legislature for the enactment of hate crimes legislation. How bad could it get here? We don't know how bad it could get, but I cite that only as an example from 30 years ago of what could happen because of political, fearful, divisive rhetoric. We need to be careful. I ask that you look at both candidates for president and reject divisiveness, reject fear. Vote for the candidate that will bring us together. Vote for the candidate that sees a better tomorrow, a better America. Vote for the candidate who will build a stronger America, but one which we will do together. Sheshe, thank you so much for hearing me today.
Thank you.
God bless you all, and God bless the United States of America.